Subject tonight. Al-Nusra, that is to say Al-Qaeda in Syria, has changed its name to Jabhat Fatah al-Sham. Now, I don't give a monkeys what they call themselves. You could actually call them anything. You could call them Big Bird from Sesame Street. You could call them the Bobby Charlton Fan Club. It wouldn't change anything for me, and it shouldn't for you. They were Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda has given them permission to change their name to Jabhat Fatah al-Sham. Who cares? I'll tell you who cares. The people who care, the people who push them to change their name, are the people who are funding them, arming them, giving them political, diplomatic, and propaganda support. They are embarrassed. You might say they ought to be ashamed, but they definitely are embarrassed that they're giving guns and money to the people who attacked the United States on 9/11/2001. That would be embarrassing for any American government, wouldn't it? How do you explain that to the families of the thousands of people murdered by Al-Qaeda on 9/11? Well, what do you say? It's 15 years on. Let's forgive them and give them everything they need to mass murder hundreds of thousands of people in Syria and Iraq. It's embarrassing. So why not change their name? It's embarrassing for the slaves of the United States in the satrapies of the Persian Gulf, whose money it actually is that's being used. Let me tell you how it works. The United States and Britain give them money, and the satrapies in the Persian Gulf pay the United States and Britain for the weapons. It's good business. Actually, it's been done before. It was done in the 1980s in Afghanistan. And it was actually Osama bin Laden who was one of the beneficiaries of that setup. Now, a group that is openly loyal to Osama bin Laden, they were on Al Jazeera just the other night, openly stating their reverence for Osama bin Laden. Oddly, the Al Jazeera reporter didn't seem to be fazed by that, or imagine that that would travel, that that would later come back to haunt them. But hey, if you call them Al-Nusra instead of Al-Qaeda, and then when Al-Nusra becomes so shameful because of its head-chopping, crucifying, murdering, torturing, holy place destroying reputation, well, change their name again, and we'll call them Jabhat Fatah, shall we? I think I'm going to call them Big Bird from Sesame Street. A big, ugly, savage, mass murdering bird from Sesame Street. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. But what of the governments and the media outfits who presumably will tamely accept this change of name as meaning anything at all? What of them? How do we expose them for the cynicism, for the hypocrisy? How do we tell the American taxpayer? How do we tell the British taxpayer, who also suffered their own 9/11 on 7/7 on a smaller scale? How do we tell those taxpayers that your money and your weapons are going to these people? That's our main subject tonight. But there's two other subset subjects.